Hello, this is Will Faerber from Art to Ride, and this is a second submission by Meg and her horse Blink. And I must say I'm already seeing a big improvement here. This walk is more active and stepping. That's really quite nice. You could be stretching into the contact there a little more, but the walk is becoming active. It's really quite nice. Just need to get him stretching a little bit more, which I know you do by the end of this, so I'm quite pleased with the way this is coming. And once again, just that's a good shot right there. You can see that hole there behind your saddle, and just know that all that's going to fill up. You know, and this horse in particular is, not in particular, but you see the way he's built there, and it almost looks a little downhill at times. And that's all going to change. So if you keep doing this work, the withers is going to pull up through the shoulders. All that hole behind your saddle there is going to fill up, and this horse is going to change his posture quite a bit. But this is much improved, really nice walk work. As I said to Laura in the last video, or submission, I would like to start seeing some lateral work. So once you get the horse just walking and stretching actively, then we can start just doing leg yields from the center line. So I'd like to see you do is just going large and coming down the center line and doing leg yields either way, from the inside to the outside to start with. I would have liked to see the horse get a little more stretch there before he started into that trot, but boy, she started out nicely. When she goes down there long, I really liked how she got there for a second, little resistant. This is all very normal. I like how you're dealing with it. And remember, you know, you deal with resistance by sending the horse forward, not by shortening the neck as so many people try to do, and that gives them a false impression of balance because they're just going too slowly. This is really good. What an improvement over the last video. This is quite good. And it pops up a little bit. That's all very normal. That will all just stabilize in a short period of time. But already, I mean, just look how nicely balanced this horse looks. And as I said, you know, take your hand and cover up the neck of the horse, you know, so you can't see what the neck is doing, and just look at the legs and ask yourself whether the horse looks like it's on the forehand or not. And what you'll see is the neck really has nothing to do with it. What has to do with whether the horse is on the forehand is whether the horse comes underneath itself and whether it lifts its back or not. So this is really quite nice, and as you said, you were running the horse a little bit maybe in the other video, but this is quite nice, and it's starting to slow down, and sometimes we have to do that. You know, with horses that are just sluggish, we have to just get them moving, you know, and just not taking any contact and just get them moving, and then as we start to soften them, as you're doing here, then we can get them into a better frame. But that's really good, and this is right on track. You're doing a wonderful job. All of you are down there. I'm just very impressed with everything that I've seen and how hardworking you all are. And if you just stay dedicated to this, it's going to transform your horses and your riding. And you'll be able to train your own horses, you know, and do it correctly, so in such a way that they'll last forever, you know. I mean, all of you look like you ride plenty well enough to go to whatever levels that you would like to go to. Understanding this basic foundation work is the hard part. Everything else is just teaching the horse cues. And of course, you know, we see people struggling to teach horses cues because they're asking the horses to do things in a way that they can't do them. So this is really good. Look at that right there. That's really quite nice. She gets a little deeper. There we go, like that. Really, really nice. And I like the way you made the transition back to the walk. You didn't suddenly jerk the horse up. You simply let it smoothly come back, and you didn't sit in the saddle until the horse started to walk. That is how it should be done at this level. We see way too many people, you know, sitting on horses whose backs aren't formed, and then they immediately have to take hold of their hands because they get jolted out of the saddle. So then they start pulling and balancing against their hands, and that becomes that downward spiral that can end up like with your friend there, having your horse have ulcers and this kind of thing because they just get confused. Why are they pushing and pulling on me all the time, you know? Like torture. But this is really nice. All these horses are starting to look really nice. And we're just beginning. Imagine what they'll look like in a year. Imagine what they'll look like in 2 years. You'll have wonderfully trained horses that'll be capable of real collection. This walk got a little pokey here after that trot work. I'd like to see it a little more active like it was in the beginning, but I'm sure you'll get that again here in a moment. Very nice. So as I said, in our next video from all of you, I'd like to see you start doing some leg yields. So keeping the camera here, coming down the center line and leg yielding to either side so I can see what those begin to look like, as that's our first step. And first in the walk, and when we can achieve the leg yields in the walk, then we do them in the trot, but not before. Remember, the walk is where we explain everything to the horse. So we can take our time, we can break it down. Nothing's coming at either you or the horse in too rapid a succession that it becomes confusing or frustrating. Nice transition back into the trot there in the sense that he didn't go right back into the perfect frame, but you didn't hold him up with your hands. I mean, once again, remember our cardinal rule is you never want to worry about whether the transitions between gaits are good until you can just simply keep the horse in the correct frame in the gait. So when you can keep the horse stretching in the walk and then you can get the trot, at first, like you're experiencing here, it's not going to be perfect. But in a short period of time, it will be, and you'll be able, there, that's beautiful, like that. And boy, and just already this horse is slowing down. As far as your riding goes, you look very centered on the back of the horse. That all looks good. I don't see anything that I don't like. Very nice. And the other beauty thing about the classical system is that it shapes the rider. You will rarely see me talk much about the riders because if you get the horse going right, you'll have to be sitting in the right position or rising in the right position because this simply you'll throw the horse out of balance if you're not, and you won't be able to do it. So once you understand that this correct riding shapes the horse as well as it shapes the rider. Today, people get too hung up in riding lessons. They're teaching people to pose. They're not really teaching them to ride. This is really nice. But what an improvement. And you can see here now with this horse today, if you look at, behind your heel there and look at the horse's belly line, we can see that this horse is beginning to lift the abdominal wall, and that's what we want to see. And that's much better than the last video that I saw. So this horse is really getting over its back there. That's really nice. And of course, it's very normal. She just hit a little bad spot and skipped a little bit and brought her head up for a second, and you put her right back down there. But in no time at all, you'll be able to just keep that going. And I like how you brought her back to the trot there. Very nice. You didn't make a big deal of it. You didn't stop the horse. This is why you'll never hear me use the term half halt, because it makes people think you're halting all the time. And that's not what we should be doing. That's just a bad translation of the word. In French, it means to balance. Rassembler. Very, very nice. Well done. Hugely improved. I look forward to talking to you soon.